worst hate crimes this nation has ever seen. Byrd was kidnapped and then tied behind a pickup truck and dragged for nearly 3 miles in the East Texas city of Jasper, all because he was black.
My father remembers his father raising hunting dogs that he would rent out on the weekend for hunting parties, only these weren't regular hunting parties.
The letter stated that Carol Jenkins' killer was this man, Kenneth Clay Richmond.
You realize the Ku Klux Klan is still prevalent.
Rise and Grand Rising. Hello everybody. Today we are going to be talking about sundown towns. It just popped up on my For You page, and I show y'all whatever comes to me, whatever downloads or things that I actually get interested in at the moment is obviously floating into my brain for a reason. So let's just get into the rest of the video.
We're in the world's most racist town in America, and that is Harrison, Arkansas, or Zinc. I'm gonna put these signs, I heart black people signs, on people's lawns and see if they are black people.
Can I help you with something?
Yeah, I was just dropping off your signs. My boss said it was this address.
You realize the Ku Klux Klan is still prevalent.
Do you want these signs here or no?
Honey, we have no problem.
This is a fucked up town.
Is it?
Totally. I don't want to start a riot.
I just dropped off your sign just to let you guys know.
What sign's that?
Did you guys not order it?
Yeah, we didn't order.
No, we ain't order no shit like that. No, you can go ahead and get off this property though.
Oh, my fault. Do you want it by chance or no?
No, we don't want it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Huh? That was quick. What the fuck? Is he that pissed?
That's a KKK member.
Oh, that's a KKK member. Bro, is he, what is he throwing up? Oh, that motherfucker is different. What is he throwing up?
Oh, okay.
What the fuck? Yo! Barry didn't get it on camera, but the guy started chasing the van. All jokes aside, right now, currently being followed. I don't know who it is, but we're being followed. The car's been like following us for a minute. So he's taking every single turn. He's following us right now.
You should have no reason to make this turn.
Oh, he is making the turn. Yep, we're being followed. But the way he showed off those tattoos and he was chasing the freaking van, I think that guy was definitely in the Klansman. If you guys can let me know what that meant, like on his stomach and stuff, please let me know.
What you just saw was him going to like a sundown town and actually putting up "I love melanated people" signs, and it's just like, sir, did he make it home? Did he make it home? The old man who was saying this is a messed up town, I personally feel like, because the lady, she walked over just to like talk to him and let him know like, you're safe here, but I just want to let you know that there are racist people around here, which is basically what was happening all throughout the 1900s. White people who aren't necessarily racist still like didn't speak up or try to create any change because they feared for their safety too, because sometimes when you're working in a police force and you don't do certain corrupt things, or if you with a colleague and y'all driving and you see the cop being a little too aggressive on the melanated person and doing unnecessary stuff, and then if you try to talk to him about it, he'll like throw it off, and then they'll bully you at the police station, and then they'll make it seem like you're a melanated lover, and they'll peer pressure you into not saying anything or not reporting your colleague who was acting racist. It's the same thing with some of the non-racist white people. Some of them, they don't speak up and some of them do, but when they don't speak up, it's morely because they're peer pressured and they're afraid. I want to give y'all a little background on what a sundown town is if you don't know.
Sundown towns, if you're not familiar with them, you will be after today. Let's go. Sundown towns are places where all it takes is being black to be a crime. A sundown town is not just a place where something racist happened. They were entire communities or counties that for decades were all white on purpose. I mean, there may have been a black family or two within the limits, and of course the servants and interracial children within the households, those didn't count. And I wanted to note that some sundown towns, they also kept out Chinese Americans, Jewish individuals, Mexican Americans, Native Americans, and yes, even Mormons. And you would think that places like this only existed in the Deep South, but some of those same states that fought against slavery in the Civil War, they removed blacks from their small towns and their cities and made sure that nobody who wasn't white was able to move in. With that said, the phenomenon seems to be mainly a northern one, as relatively few sundown towns in the South have been identified. Now, the South, it had many deplorable methods for keeping blacks down, but sundown towns, that wasn't their main one. And though typically none of this is on record, you can find many widespread stories if you just start digging.
Right.
Now, a census could really tell the tale, as a population may go from hundreds or thousands of black residents at one point to zero at the next, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that those people were driven out. Like in the case of Ferguson, Missouri, this was a sundown town between 1940 and 1960. However,
I lived in Ferguson, Missouri. So, trust me, I'm confirming what she's saying. It's definitely racist. My uncle was tased to death by a white police officer, and the other one just stood there and watched. And then later, they said that, they weren't responsible for his death and tried to fight the case. Yeah, they're racist. Also, look up Mike Brown. He was shot with his hands up. Let's continue.
However, by 2014, it was 67% black, so that just goes to show that over the years, it did begin to integrate. Around 1970 in Alex, Arkansas, they had a sign that you would see going into town that said, N-word, don't let the sun go down on you in Alex. Can you imagine that? And 2 hours south in Mena, Arkansas, a sign that advertised the town read, cool summers, mild winters, no blizzards, and no Negroes. In James Lowen's book, Sundown Towns, A Dimension of Segregation Across America, it listed 507 sundown towns in Illinois alone and thousands across America. Then you had the Negro Motorist Green Book by Victor Hugo Green, which was developed specifically to help black people find a list of places where you'd be welcome in the 1930s. One of the first recorded examples of sundown towns in America emerged during the colonial era. In 1759, His Majesty's province of New Hampshire passed a stipulation forbidding nighttime travel of non-white residents in order to prevent disorders that happened at night. And what about the brutal red summer of 1919 when an armed white mob in Corbin, Kentucky rounded up some 300 men, women, and children and then violently forced them into rail cars headed for other towns? While sundown towns were once thought to be a shameful relic of the past, some black travelers maintain that they still remain today. And while some communities wish to put their shameful past behind them, the only way to do that is by admitting their past, apologizing for it, and then vowing to never let that happen again. Sundown towns, if you're...
I went into a whole deep dive on this topic. Okay, y'all don't mind the background music. Please just listen to the story. This is the only video I could really find that was explaining her story correctly.
Let's talk about it. This is Carol Jenkins. In 1968, she was 21 years old. She was born and raised in Indiana and had a dream of becoming a fashion model. In 1968, at age 21, she got a job selling encyclopedias. You sell encyclopedias by going door to door in neighborhoods and trying to make some sales. In 1968, her and a few of her co-workers, including her boss as well as another young black woman, went down to the town of Martinsville, Indiana to sell some encyclopedia. Martinsville, Indiana had been known to be a sundown town. A sundown town is essentially a town that is not welcoming to black folks, especially after night. It can be very dangerous if black people or other people of color are found in the town after certain hours especially. Eventually, the team splits up in the neighborhood to start selling encyclopedias door to door. Later that evening, Carol goes to a house and knocks on the door.
Oh, hell no. They set her up. Splitting up. Y'all splitting up. Well, I guess y'all probably got to meet certain quotas throughout the day, but it's just like, that's why you got to stay educated. That's why you got to educate yourself.
Door at a home owned by the Neals. And with that, she asks the Neals for help. She explains that a car had been following her and yelling things at her that she was concerned. Mr. Neal does recognize an unidentifiable car and decides to get close enough to try to see what he can make of the license plate numbers. Eventually, Mrs. Neal takes Carol around the neighborhood looking for her co-workers that they could not find. And they offer for her to stay at their house, but she refused and decided to go ahead and go and try to make it back to the meeting spot that the team had said that they would meet at a certain hour that night. Doing the investigative work for this case was really hard because the local police was not really doing enough to really help to figure out what happened to this local black woman. When reporters were in town or calling around, local townsfolk did not want to answer. If someone knew something they were definitely not saying or sharing that information, the federal government was not getting involved. It left many questions and many wonderings for the family. In 2002, an anonymous phone call came in and said they knew someone who had witnessed this crime as a child. They did not want to identify themselves because they were afraid for their life, but they did want to leave that tip. Shirley McQueen does mention that at the age of 7, she recalls her father, Kenneth Richmond, and another man she did not know stopping and stabbing a woman on the side of the road. And with that being said, Kenneth was taken into custody but never went to trial as he died shortly thereafter of cancer. The other man still remains unidentified, and this case has been reopened and was reopened in 2019. In 2002,
Oh my God. Give me a second. Okay, y'all. I found a little bit more on the case.
On the other line said who killed Carol. So her mother, Elizabeth, they would hire a private investigator to look into this person that was named. The Indiana State Police.
Why is everybody playing weird background music? I'm trying to hear what you're saying. Don't nobody want to hear about Beethoven's symphony.
Now that times have drastically changed, they decided to reopen this cold case that really never seemed to be realized was a cold case. I think it was just sort of tucked away that no one could ever see it. And then those detectives would receive an anonymous letter a year later. The letter stated that Carol Jenkins' killer was this man, Kenneth Clay Richmond. The letter...
Do you see what he looked like? Look at his eyes. My bad, y'all. Come on, let's just get into it.
Came from his daughter. Her name was Shirley. She was there that day. She witnessed her father murder Carol Jenkins. She was 7 years old. This is what he would have looked like in 1985, but this is what the decrepit old shit looked like in 2002 when he was finally arrested for the murder of Carol Jenkins. Surprise, surprise, back in 1968, he was a member of the, let's call it the Triple K. And he was also a career criminal, just breaking the law anytime he could. And that night when Carol was killed, he was just passing through town. He didn't even live there. So his daughter Shirley would come face to face with police, and she would break down the whole thing. Shirley, at the age of 7, was tucked down in the back seat of the car. Her father and another man who she didn't know who it was and still doesn't, they were out drinking and getting shit-faced, and then they started driving around town with, the 7-year-old girl in the back. She then witnessed as they stalked her and then stabbed her to death, left her to die, laughed about it. When they got back in the car, they said she got what she deserved. Shirley was given $7 by her father for each year she was alive. It was hush money. $7. I mean, she was 7, she didn't understand what was going on, and she was way too afraid to say anything. Kenneth Richmond would never go to trial because he was declared incompetent in 2002. 2 weeks after that, though, he died of bladder cancer. Oh, raspberries. Oh, by the way, Dawn and Norma Neal, who helped Carol that day, they received threats, death threats, violent threats against them because they helped Carol that day. But these two wonderful people are still very happy that they gave her some sort of protection. His unknown accomplice is still unknown, and hopefully he's just dead too.
My eyes is getting watery. Hold on, let me come back. Give me a second, because I didn't know about this story. I can't imagine the amount of fear she was in. Okay, let's continue.
When I tell you it was heinous, I'm going to have to be careful how I word this so that I don't get in trouble, but I think it needs to be said because I am sick.
Okay, warning, violence against POC, people of color, disturbing content. This is for educational, entertainment purposes. This video is not real. Let's just get into it.
I'm tired of hearing people say that people of color just need to get over it already because it was so long ago. No, it wasn't. My father remembers his father raising hunting dogs that he would rent out on the weekend for hunting parties, only these weren't regular hunting parties. These big bubbas would set up these almost lemonade type stands during the week and sell these little cards for like, I don't know, a nickel, 25 cents. They were person of color hunting licenses. And everyone who bought one during the week, they would gather together on the weekend with all their trucks and they would round up as many people of color in the surrounding areas as they could find, turn them loose in the woods, and set the dogs after them. There are people alive today whose family were hunted down in the woods by dogs, and they raised their children to have a well-earned distrust of white people and of police officers. Because I guarantee you, any of the police officers that weren't wearing the hoods were turning a blind eye. This town, Vidor, Texas, at one time, I believe was known as the most racist city in the United States. It was a sundown town. They had a billboard that said, "Person of color, don't let the sun set on your ass." And anyone who was not white knew you don't drive through Vidor after dark. Even truckers would avoid that route if they weren't 100% certain that they could make it through before sundown, because God forbid they had a blowout or some sort of mechanical trouble in Vidor, Texas after dark, because they had citizens and police officers patrolling looking for them. If you were in Vidor, Texas after dark and you were not white, you probably wouldn't be seen again, or at least you wouldn't be seen in one piece. It's hard for me to talk about. The library sold t-shirts with rifles across it that said, "People of color, we're ready for you." The Klan marched down Main Street openly and with full support of the municipalities and the people until 1985. 1985.
This is a lot to digest. This is a lot to digest. Do you know that's our parents' generation? Like, they was born in the 80s, right? Let's just move on. I'm trying to educate y'all. Let's just move on. She goes in on some more information about Texas.
I know Jasper. It's an hour north of Vidor, and in the late 80s, early 90s, when outside agencies came in to clean up the Vidor police force, which was just corrupt through and through, the Klan split, and half of them went up north to Jasper. The other half went to Pasadena, which is closer to Houston. And as a result of the Klan activity in Jasper, it is the scene of one of our nation's worst hate crimes that was caught and prosecuted. Unfortunately, it was a normal Saturday afternoon in Vidor back in the day, and nobody cared, and the police looked the other way. So again, when people say it was so long ago, why can't they just forget and get over it? It wasn't. This hate crime was in my daughter's lifetime. 1998. It was a year after my daughter was born.
One of the worst hate crimes this nation has ever seen.
There's something you don't want to know in phone call, so I tell you like that.
On a Saturday night in June 1998, James Byrd Jr. caught a ride with 3 white men in Jasper, Texas. They drove him down a dark country road, beat him, and then chained him alive to a pickup truck and dragged his body for 3 miles until he was decapitated.
Are you a white supremacist, sir? Are you a white supremacist?
The day after the murder, police arrested John William King, Russell Brewer, and Sean Allen Berry.
We believe that Bill King wanted to start a KKK group in this community and needed to do something phenomenal, earth-shattering, because Bill was a brilliant kid, but he was evil.
John William King became the first white man in Texas history to be sentenced to death for killing a black man. Russell Brewer was sentenced and executed as well. And Sean Berry is still serving life in prison.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you see how quickly my eyes just got watery? I want y'all to really know, like, I'm really, really passionate about history, and like, when something is wrong, I feel it. Like, that's just me just being an empath. I am a crybaby, okay? That is terrible.
The worst hate crimes this nation has ever seen. Byrd was kidnapped and then tied behind a pickup truck and dragged for nearly 3 miles in the East Texas city of Jasper, all because he was black.
This generation, they don't know about James Byrd Jr., the black man that was dragged behind a pickup truck.
On a Saturday night in June...
Okay, y'all, I'm trying to get through this video. This is really tough. Okay. Hold on, I gotta pause it. I'm just now hearing about this story. The stuff that they don't teach us in school. I mean, just looking out for our safety. Like, if we were to ever travel, like, they don't even, I didn't know nothing about no sundown towns in high school. They didn't teach us that, you know? I'm gonna give you an example, right? So, y'all know I moved to Vegas, right? I moved here, and I was finishing my senior year of high school. I was in class, and I had a journalism class. I don't know why they put me in journalism, you know, but I guess because of how I am. So I got put into journalism class, and we were supposed to do a like a cover of history, like, you know, a slideshow. So I did mine on Emmett Till, and when I showed it to the class, I had to present his story and everything that happened to him and his case and all of that. They didn't know nothing about Emmett Till. Nobody, not even the teacher. Nobody. It's a bunch of, it was, you know, a bunch of Mexicans, and in Nevada, it's just like very mixed, interraced everywhere. Like, it's a whole bunch of different races here. Not even my melanated students, they didn't know nothing about Emmett Till. Like, nothing. They try to hide so much of the sad history and the stuff that has been done. And you know what they're doing behind the scenes work with involving this country. But I just wanted to share that with y'all, because the fact that I didn't know about his story made me think about the fact that, you know, when I was in class, majority of the people who go to school in Vegas don't know about Emmett Till. None. They don't teach you about that. So this stuff is still happening. There's actually something that happened in May in Jacksonville, Florida. Just listen, I'm gonna show you a little bit of it. I want y'all to be educated.
Three white men chase a black male. Black male found dead at a dumpster. The judge breaks all protocol, questions the hate crime statute basically being applied to them. It is insane. Put the picture up full mass. 3 white males were arrested in connection with the shooting death last week of a 39-year-old black male in Jacksonville, Florida. The victim's name has not yet been released, according to First Coast News. Ryan Nichols, 19, 18-year-old Danielle DeGardia, and 21-year-old Holden Dodson. They're all
These is kids?
arrested after the victim was found dead behind a garbage dumpster on the 500 block of Ashley Street in Jacksonville. The man was found dead from apparent gunshot wounds at about 6:45 a.m. This was on May 2nd. Surveillance video footage captured the 3 males chasing the victim on foot and in a vehicle. The security footage later obtained by the police showed a Jeep Grand Cherokee carrying Nichols, a DeGardia, and Dodson parked near 100 North Julia Street before the men got out of the vehicle at approximately 2:25 a.m. All right. So then at approximately 2:45 a.m., the footage captured one of the men chasing the victim past the Jeep. The 3 men got back into the Jeep a few moments later and drove away. Subsequent footage captured the men driving down streets nearby, seemingly looking for the victim still, who is seen at approximately 2:50 a.m. on Clay Street and running north from the Jeep. He's still running. One of the men got out and chased the man, who is later seen trying to hide behind the garbage dumpster. He is trying to save himself. There's more. The police report is redacted and did not indicate the shooting. Dodson later reported his 9mm Glock missing. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office found several 9mm shell casings at the scene of the crime, along with a loaded extended magazine, which was found next to the victim. They also found evidence that the garbage dumpster had been hit by a vehicle. Once again, more evidence. Additional video. More video from a 7-Eleven on Julia Street. Caught the
Okay. I just wanted to give y'all a little, just letting y'all know that this stuff like this is still happening. That's just a prime example of it. Let's move on. And I want to give y'all an example of this because they're saying Forsyth County is a very, very that's by Lake Lanier. And if y'all heard about Lake Lanier,
White only, no black! The Constitution right!
Civil rights leader Hosea Williams and other activists marched twice in Forsyth County in January of 1987.
We haven't had none up here since the first of the century.
They have the right to live wherever they want to, but we have the right to choose if we want a white community also. That's why we moved here.
They were met with fierce resistance, which locals blamed on outside agitators.
We were invaded. We were their battleground. Black and white together in Forsyth County. There's no other way.
just across from the spot where Rob Edwards was lynched, Lady Justice faces history wearing her blindfold. But soil from the square has been collected in a jar, and the name Rob Edwards will soon join the lynching memorial at the Equal Justice Initiative.
To all my melanated individuals out there who do a lot of traveling on the road like myself, you should know what a sundown town is, because believe it or not, they still exist. And how do I know this? Because I've been through one. BuzzFeed did an entire article about my experience, which I would like to share with you all. Now, for those of you all who don't know, these are towns that African Americans are not allowed to be in after a certain time because it could get bad for them. Back in 2020, I went to Devil's Bathtub. Devil's Bathtub is located deep in the southwestern portion of Virginia. Now, as you're on your way there, you're going to pass through poor neighborhoods that have nothing but rebel flags flying high. And you have a lot of one-way roads that have no street lights or cameras. At one point, I thought to myself, damn, I could easily get murdered and no one would ever know. Now, obviously, nothing happened to me. But as we were leaving, we took the scenic route back home. I remember traveling along Route 119, stopping at a gas station. The cashier was like, you must not be from around here, huh? I was like, nah, I'm just passing through getting gas. She was like, yeah, you best not be around here after a certain time. This is a sundown town. Now, I don't think she had bad intentions. I think she was just looking out for me. But that was the day that I learned what a sundown town is, and they still exist. Now, they might not be listed on the books, but the ideologies still remain the same in those towns.
I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Arcades did a good explanation on where these sundown towns is, because I want y'all to be educated. So let's just listen to it.
Sundown towns is a place where they kill black people every time that the sun goes down. No blacks allowed, so when it hits 8 p.m., you better be nowhere around. Clayton, Georgia, a sundown town. Coleman, that is a sundown town. Miami Beach is a sundown town. As I'm reading this list, I'm stunned, I'm like, wow. Buffalo, New York, sundown town. Rochester, New York is a sundown town. Montgomery, SC, a sundown town. The fuck is you laughing for? You need a frown. Tucson, Arizona, a sundown town. King, NC is a sundown town. Louisiana got some sundown towns. So if you was black, better stay from around. Clay, Kentucky, sundown town. Palm Beach, Florida, a sundown town. In Mississippi, a sundown town. If you out there at night, might get killed by some clowns. Cayenne, Texas, sundown town. Lamar, Arkansas, a sundown town. Downtown Tennessee, sundown town. That is okay, cause I'm black and I'm proud. I'm screaming fuck all the sundown towns, because most of them can't survive the sun anyway. I'ma go in a sundown town any day. In my 6'4" while I'm drinking a lemonade. If y'all know any sundown towns that I missed, go ahead and type it in comments. They said I can't come to a town, please stop it. I'm on the way and I'm bringing a rocket. Sundown.
He on the way and he bringing a rocket. Okay, well, I hope that gave you a little bit. I mean, y'all can do more research and try to look up on Google and see what sundown towns. I just want to make sure y'all are being safe if y'all are traveling or y'all are planning on, you know, just doing anything like some RV stuff. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this with me. And if you're here at the end, I applaud you because you are staying dedicated to your education. And I thank you for rocking with me. I love all of y'all. I hope that y'all have a good rest of y'all day. And let's keep going up.